In 1949, on a Scottish island, George Orwell, dying of tuberculosis, finished 1984. The book has sold over 30 million copies. It named the surveillance state before it existed, and he was terrified by it. 75 years later, the phone in your hand, the camera on your street, the voice in your living room, every one of them was first written into existence in his novel. You installed them yourself. His warning quietly became an instruction manual, and the one thing he got wrong is more disturbing than everything he got right. The man was George Orwell. The book was 1984. He wrote it on a remote Scottish island while tuberculosis slowly killed him, finishing it in 1949, just months before his death. He imagined a world ruled by a party that watched everyone through two-way telescreens you could never turn off. A world with a thought police that punished forbidden ideas. A ministry of truth that rewrote history every single day. A language, Newspeak, engineered to make rebellion literally unthinkable. For decades, we read it as fiction, a cautionary tale about somewhere else, some other regime, some other time. We were wrong. He wasn't describing a place. He was describing a direction, and we walked straight down it. Start with his central image, the telescreen, a device in every home that showed you entertainment while it watched you back and could never be switched off. In the novel, it was the tool of total surveillance. Now look around. There are an estimated 1 billion surveillance cameras on Earth. China alone has somewhere around 700 million, roughly one for every 2 people. Facial recognition has crossed 99% accuracy, which means a face in a crowd is now a searchable record. But here is the twist Orwell never saw coming. In his world, the telescreen was forced into your home by the state. In ours, we stood in line overnight to buy it. The smartphone in your hand has a camera pointing at your face, a microphone that's always listening for its name, and a location sensor that logs everywhere you go. Orwell imagined a screen that watched you. He did not imagine that you would pay for it, carry it everywhere, and feel anxious when you left it behind. His second invention was subtler and somehow more disturbing. Newspeak, a language deliberately stripped down so that certain thoughts became impossible to express. Orwell understood something most people miss. Control the words and you control the range of thought. Now listen to the language around you. When a government kills civilians, we don't say killing, we say collateral damage. Torture became enhanced interrogation. Mass layoffs became right-sizing and streamlining. Censorship became content moderation. Spying became data collection. Each phrase is engineered to do exactly what Newspeak did, to take something with a sharp moral edge and sand it down into something procedural, bloodless, and easy to accept. Orwell wrote that political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable. He wrote that in an essay and then watched it become the native dialect of the modern world. Then there is doublethink, the ability to hold 2 contradictory beliefs at once and accept both. And the memory hole, the slot where inconvenient facts were dropped and erased so the past could be rewritten to fit the present. In 1949, rewriting history meant physically destroying documents. Today, the entire record is digital, which means it is editable instantly at scale. A headline can be quietly changed after publication. A photograph can be generated of an event that never happened. A video of a real person can be faked well enough to fool their own family. We now have a word for living in a world where facts feel optional. Post-truth. Orwell's memory hole wasn't destroyed. It was upgraded into an algorithm that decides billions of times a day which version of reality each person is allowed to see. In the novel, the Ministry of Truth had one job: produce lies and call them news. A permanent enemy was always at the gates, the war was always necessary, and the population was kept in a state of low, manageable fear. He understood that a frightened population is an obedient one, and that an enemy who never quite gets defeated is the most useful enemy of all. You don't have to look hard to find the modern echo, a media environment that runs on outrage and threat because fear is the most reliable way ever discovered to capture human attention. Orwell saw that whoever controls the flow of information controls what a society believes is real. He just assumed it would take a ministry. He didn't realize it could be done by a handful of platforms optimizing for engagement. So Orwell was a prophet. But here is where the story turns. Because on the most important question of all, he was half wrong. And the person who got that half right was a man named Aldous Huxley. 17 years before 1984, Huxley wrote his own dystopia, Brave New World. And the two men disagreed about something fundamental, how you actually control a population. Orwell believed control required force, boots, fear, pain, an all-seeing state crushing you into obedience. Huxley believed the opposite. He argued the most effective control would never feel like control at all. People would not be oppressed into submission. They would be entertained into it. They would come to love the very things that took away their freedom, their distractions, their comforts, their endless feeds of pleasure. Orwell feared those who would ban books. Huxley feared there would be no reason to ban a book because no one would want to read one. And when you look honestly at the world we actually built, that is the chilling part. We were not forced, we volunteered. Because what we created is something neither man predicted alone. We built a hybrid. We took Huxley's method, seduction, pleasure, convenience, endless entertainment, and we used it to deliver Orwell's result, total surveillance in a managed sense of reality. The surveillance state Orwell feared did arrive, but it didn't march in. It was downloaded, one app at a time, by people chasing convenience. Nobody forced you to broadcast your location, your face, your relationships, your opinions, and your purchases to systems you'll never see. You did it because it was easy and free, and everyone else was doing it. That is the masterpiece of modern control. Orwell's world required 1,000 informants in a brutal state. Ours requires only a comfortable chair and a recommendation that you'll probably enjoy. The boot on the face got replaced by something far more effective, a screen you can't look away from. Now, it would be easy to hear all this and feel hopeless, to conclude that the prophecy came true and the game is over, but that misreads the entire point of what Orwell was doing. He didn't write 1984 to frighten you into surrender. He wrote it to make the invisible visible, because the one thing every system of control depends on is that you stop noticing it. The danger was never a single dramatic moment when freedom ends. The danger is the slow normalization, the camera that becomes wallpaper, the euphemism that becomes vocabulary, the surveillance that becomes convenience, until a generation grows up unable to imagine it being any other way. Orwell's real warning was about that, about the quiet death of the ability to notice. And the antidote is embarrassingly simple and genuinely difficult. It is to keep noticing, to call the euphemism what it is, to remember that the screen watches back, to refuse to let the strange become normal just because it became familiar. George Orwell died in January 1950, months after his book reached the world, convinced he had written a warning. He could not have known that his nightmare would be welcomed in, not by force but by choice, not as oppression but as an upgrade. The prophecy of 1949 didn't fail. It just arrived in a disguise he never expected. Smiling, helpful, and asking only that you click accept. The question he left for us was never whether the machinery could be built. We've answered that. The question is whether anyone is still awake enough to recognize what it's for.